much for coming. I'm sorry that so many of you are standing, although on second thoughts I'm not too sorry because we've had the most amazing turnout possible. I must admit, I'm gobsmacked. If any of you haven't paid yet, please come and pay me during the interval or something like that. Anyway, what is Skeptics in the Pub? Well, I didn't know myself about 6 months, until about maybe 6 months ago. But people kept talking about it. Oh, we had this great Skeptics in the Pub meeting, and we had this amazing speaker who told us this and that, and we had such a laugh. And oh, Alice, you really ought to come to Skeptics in the Pub. And then this very funny chap called Crispian Jago, who's author of, for example, Ladybird book of the Atheist Bus campaign and the periodic table of nonsense, said, come along to Winchester, stay at my house and see what the Skeptics in the Pub is like. So I went along to that. And I heard lots about ghosts and zombies and their scientific origins. Believe it or not, ghosts and zombies actually do have a scientific origin. I'm hoping that Deborah Hyde will come and tell us all about that sometime next spring or summer. Who is that I heard groaning? Skeptics in the Pub began in the late 90s in an upstairs room of a pub in London. I think even smaller than, well, I shouldn't say even smaller than this one, but it was a smaller room. It's got one pool table, and it had a very noisy toilet behind it. So whenever someone disagreed with the speaker, they'd pull the chain and flash it very, very loudly. From this humble beginning, started a tradition that's taken across and
That's Ted, it's fine.
Oh, that's all right then.
Yeah.
I thought someone was trying to communicate with me for a moment.
He is, sort of, but yeah.
Fair enough.
Long story.
Offside.
You got someone, don't worry.
Anyway, from that humble beginning I mentioned, Skeptics in the Pub has grown across the UK, at least it's grown across England and Scotland. I've counted 3 branches in Scotland, there's loads in England, and I thought, why on earth isn't Wales doing it as well? So people said, well, Alice, set one up in Wales. I said, I don't know how to do that. And they said, I just set up a Facebook page. That's what I did. Dean came along and he did all the real work. Apparently what I do is the slick side. Don't ask me what that means. I think it means getting speakers. So I'm afraid I take responsibility for a great deal of our speakers. You know, apart from that, I can't really think of anything much to say about what Skeptics in the Pub is, other than perhaps what sort of subjects do we cover. We don't only cover ghosts and zombies, we also cover maybe conspiracy theories, maybe policy and media and law. That doesn't sound terribly exciting, I know, but in fact it might profoundly affect all of us, especially with pseudoscience. And picture, I don't know, someone who says that such and such bleach, for example, can cure cancer. Some people are actually going to believe it. I'm afraid they do. I've seen evidence of this all over the internet, hoping that the internet is not a representation of the world population, but who knows. Now, when policymakers actually start allowing these things because they've heard all the pseudoscience but they haven't heard the actual science behind it, this could be a problem for all of us. Or say a scientist tries to bring out the truth about something that doesn't work and gets sued for it. This happened to the chap who's going to come and speak for us in February, Simon Singh. How many of you have heard of the Simon Singh case? A large majority. I won't take too long explaining it, but basically Simon Singh wrote, "The chiropractors happily promote bogus treatments." And he went on to explain what he meant by bogus. But basically they might help with your back pain, but they won't cure your earache or your tummy or whatever. They sued him. It took a year to establish the meaning of bogus. It took another year for him to get off. He's wasted 2 years of his life and about £200,000. Skepticism is the kind of thing that says, well, don't settle this in the courts, for goodness sake, settle it with science. Sometimes we get a bit more dramatic. In late January, I, along with quite a large number of people, though I was on my own in Wales, I think, I swallowed an entire bottle of homeopathic arnica. I'm still here. Seeing as it contained quite a lot of sugar, and quite a lot more sugar, and quite a lot more sugar, but it didn't actually contain any arnica. None of us suffered any effects at all. Go through city to city. Well, no one died there, no one died there, no one died there. Oh, well, in one place somebody really bruised their thumb trying to open the wretched bottle. Apart from that, we're fine. So, I think...
That's statistically very unlikely.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to get something.
Well, of course someone will get something. I mean, statistically, there's lightning striking on the Earth somewhere about the place, in fact, in quite a lot of places. Anyway, I hope that gives you a better idea what Skeptics in the Pub is, if you didn't already know. And thank you all for coming to launch it in Wales. It's going to be kicking off.
Explaining what Skeptics in the Pub is. Skeptics in the Pub, with no expense, is even considered. Just because they're like I've been invited a lot of people to this, and they're not all part of the skeptic community, not even scientists, not even like interested in this sort of thing at all. And they've asked me, well, what does a skeptic person look like? And then a lot of people think they're very typical nerds. And I realise me and Alice aren't helping that stereotype. But they can come in all yeah, they can come in all shapes and sizes. My father was a committed skeptic, not like us, but I've told people this before, but my father once actually dangled, from the valley I came from, he once dangled a local reverend off a bridge by his ankles until he admitted there was no God. Also, of course, Rhys Morgan. Rhys, come and stand and give a wave. Yeah. He's not actually far away. He's actually over here. For those of you who don't know, Rhys is like a schoolboy who, with the arrogance of youth, they had to call someone out on prescribing bleach for curing cancer. Yeah, not only a small child would think that was a stupid idea, of course, because bleach can treat cancer in the same way as getting hit by a car can treat cancer. It replaces the progressive pain with something far more immediate and damaging. Depends on your definition of treat, of course. Yes, so it's very good. So, like Rhys said, well, you've got some contacts with the government of Kenya now.
Well, yeah, the malaria health minister said basically don't use miracle mineral solution because it's dangerous.
Oh, cool, yeah. So, like, Rhys has influencing the Kenyan government now. But if you start emailing me, right, asking me to get millions of pounds out of the country, I'm not happy with that. I'll tell you that now. You make me feel like a headmaster. I don't like this. Morgan! That's Rhys Morgan there, 15 or 17 if the bar staff are listening. Allowed to be here, it's fine. Of course, being here soon, if you're not here already, is John Dixon here yet? Of course he's not, he's a politician. He won't be here on time, or at all. He promised he would, and he didn't live up to his promises. That was, I've seen he's not here, I can tell you some things I know about Councillor John Dixon, the thorn in Scientology's side. I knew him before he was cool. Yeah. The coolest Lib Dem councillor on the block. I actually did a fundraising gig for the Lib Dems in Cardiff before the election. The night was actually called I Agree with Nick. But back in that week when we all said that, before it turns out that Nick agreed with Cameron, and that was a terrible idea all around. So I asked our guest speaker tonight if he minded if I called him a skeptical Gandalf. He asked me who's Gandalf. The competition went downhill from there, really. As you can see, his name's Simon Perry. He's just talked about skepticism and the quacklash. So please, can I hand you over to our speaker for the evening, the fantastic Mr. Simon Perry.
I've been a troublemaker for a lot longer. But I decided I really wanted to direct my troublemaking activity to a good purpose. And truth has always been something that's been really important to me. And I get, especially, I do get concerns with religion. I get concerns as well with alternative medicine, especially because people are getting ripped off, and people are getting ripped off and being fed sort of bogus health claims as well. So those are two things that really bothered me. So I started to become very active campaigning to inform people and to get some of these kind of scams shut down. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through some of the things that I've done. Some are really, really small campaigns, and some are actually very large. So you get a full range of the sort of thing I've done, and I hope that it will inspire other people to try and make some changes as well. So.